Welcome back
Yeah.
to another Street Preachers podcast.
Verse 5.
Yes, sir. So what's good, man?
Oh, man, just sliding through this week, trying to get this weather warmer,
I feel you, man. I saw we had a couple days last week, man. I was like, yes, sir. Spring is around the corner, man. That's when I feel like just the whole mood changes, man.
It does, but then, Georgia weather, you leave in a winter jacket. By noon, you maybe peel off one of the jackets, but then you're ready to go to the beach about mid-afternoon.
That's so true, though, man, because you be sweating.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. I be burning up in the office, man.
And there's no way to prepare for it. So I'm surprised a lot of people ain't been getting sick, but
that's
it is what it is.
That's a good point, man. Things going all right?
Yeah, I had some things in my mind relationship-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that there's women out here that are they're celebrating having OnlyFans pages?
It's a mess, man.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong because I don't know if there's a turning back point from this. So
because basically, you're a low budget adult film star.
Essentially,
I mean that's
essentially.
And when I say low budget, that doesn't mean you can't make a killing doing it. But I just the game has changed, man. Which that's funny you say that because it does beg to ask two questions. Is that changing the modern family and the modern relationship? And then also let's touch on the dynamic of at a time when we're always talking about equality, right, for women and men. At the same time, we're seeing, and maybe there's double standards, whatever, right? But at the same time, we're seeing a devaluing by stuff that you see going on Instagram and OnlyFans. So, what direction are we trying to move in? You know what I'm saying? And either way, it's certainly not one direction.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts.
Absolutely, man. So, what do you think about as far as like, whether it's Instagram models and just OnlyFans? What do you think all that long term? You think there's any long term effects on the relationship, or is it just another thing?
Well, first things first, it's all money driven. And,
absolutely.
And we all know that's the root.
Hey, there's husbands that know what's going on and they're cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if you heard about the mother of the kids that go to private school. She got caught. For those that hadn't heard, she has this little private page.
Yeah,
makes like what $500,000 a year or something.
Yeah, it's like something crazy.
And I guess somebody at the school got wind of it and
doesn't the husband?
Oh yeah, he kind of
he's a principal or something.
I don't know about the husband, but I do know that the husband is very much involved with her page. Like he promotes it, and he's like,
I do think the husband. I can't remember. I do think the husband does work at the school.
That's even wilder. Yeah, honestly,
I think he does work at the school.
But imagine what that does to the kids. Mm-hmm. Like what are the kids thinking? Like when they go to school and they're this kid over here is talking about, I've seen your mom's everything.
Yeah, man, that's
and that's something you can't unlearn or unknow. No matter what school they're going to go to, they're going to be that kid, Right. And I mean, you might have to go to another country to really get away from it.
To that point, I mean, it's like people say money's the root of all evil. It's the love of money, right? It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Mm-hmm. And why? Because it's so simple to me. Is because do you want money so bad that you're willing to forget
like values?
Your kids are values and what your kids are gonna have to deal with. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's the thing. It's like me alone, for like the sake of my family and the sake of my own kind, I would pass up money just simply for my own not to have to deal with certain stuff. So that's why it's such a It's a head scratcher.
But it's no different than when you have, like, the NBA is a good example about where, like, you take an 18-year-old kid that didn't come up with money,
right?
And then all of a sudden you give him millions of dollars and you expect him to know what to do.
Yeah, you're right.
It's the same thing. Like, when you see these girls, they maybe come from a bad situation, right, or in a bad way. That's true. They may be like, well, this is the only way I can really make money, and I don't care about showing my goodies or doing some things on camera. They're like, oh, it's just this. But that's the way society's gone.
Well, that's true, and not to mention some of that's who they were anyway.
True.
They just stay on camera now. Like they was doing stuff for $1 anyway.
Hoes are getting celebrated now.
My take on what it does for relationships is, there's a lot going on out there, and then we touched on Kevin Samuels several times. Mm-hmm. Mediocre tutorials and reviews. It's kind of in that manosphere space, right? I like a lot of that because I like to listen to like where people are coming from, with a lot of that. But you got like women who are looking for like that guy to marry, the perfect guy, this and that. But at the same time, man, all this stuff, basically what's just trash, man, easily accessible, is watering it down even more.
Yeah.
And, and even, all these Instagram models who are being flown out everywhere and stuff like this.
Hold on. Flued out.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah. Flued out. Yeah. Everywhere.
I mean, we can't be misspeaking.
Yeah, right. For real. It's an absolute game changer, man.
Yeah, it's Instagram. Like I try to put myself in that situation. Like if I had a girl, 120,000 followers, and all she takes is, we'll call it beach pictures.
Right. Yeah.
There's got to be something mentally that happens to the guy if she's trying to be in a relationship. Now, what's the end game? Is my question. Like. How long are you going to do that? What are you trying to flip that into? Or are you just planning on doing that, riding it out until you just don't look good anymore?
Yeah.
And who's paying you? Who is paying you to just?
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of them, right? A lot of them. Well, I don't want to say a lot of them. Some of them that know what they're doing. I think there's two. You know what? Put it this way. It's just like anything else, right? In terms of, let's say, legal or not, right? Okay. Even those who work the streets, if you will, right?
Okay.
There's Vegas where it's legal.
Okay.
There's the corner where it's not. So I think it's the same thing where, you've got people in Fashion Nova, right?
Okay.
This is a good example. I see it everywhere. To my knowledge, Fashion Nova just started out and just hit social media hard. And then put these clothes on whoever. There's legit ways to make a killing on social media. So even with Instagram models, I think you've got some who literally, they're trying on bathing suits. They're linked to the actual companies, and they're getting bread the solid way. And then you got some, their sole intent, it's a thirst trap to just try to get some guy to get in your DMs to then fly you out and pay you for what you're basically still standing on the curve. You're doing the same thing. It's just you don't have to leave your house and actually go to the corner.
It's a little more polished.
That's exactly it. So I think that's it. So I do think there are actually Instagram models who have a real following and really make true money. The same with anything else. But then I think the majority, because what we always have to remember, I think I told you this earlier today, it doesn't matter what you do. Cream rises to the top.
Every time.
Any sport, anything you do in life, the cream will always rise to the top.
And it may take it a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's in this case.
Especially in this case.
Because the water has got to the murkiness has to kind of settle to the bottom. And it's a slower process.
Right, absolutely.
We as the men, like we've mentioned before, you're married.
Right.
I'm in a headspace where that doesn't impress me.
Right. Yeah.
So it's almost like we got to get the people that support this to understand that this ain't cool.
No, it's not.
And, I mean, it's not cool. Like, is it nice to look at? Of course it is. Of course it is. But if you're simple, you're going to, like, if people would stop liking, double tapping and things like that, those people would kind of fall back and like, well, I'm not going to post this picture. A lot of it's ego, I think. Like they want their ego to be stroked. And
here's the deal, man. This is something I'm not even ran by anybody, but I just assume it's this way. I gotta assume that in general, man, out there, whenever you're talking about, women who just seem to be, I guess a good example is a woman who will just throw herself out there online, expose herself to everyone. Isn't it just like, even like you're just younger or dating anyway, right? And you're like, yo, like, she cool with chilling with, like, she doesn't chill with everybody. It does, while there's some people that do like and all that and are going like, oh, this is crazy, those dudes aren't the ones that women want anyway, really. And the ones they really probably want are like, oh yeah, your value's low. No. It's kind of counterintuitive,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
it's like,
it very
like,
much
the first thing you're like, oh, whatever. Because you won't take them seriously.
Yeah.
You won't take them seriously. And I told you that before. I said, my wife, man, I respected her from day one, how she respected herself. And maybe that's just me, but I respected her for how she respected herself.
So here's a question for you. Let's say your wife doesn't exist. You're still out here on the prowl. A girl you go out with says, "Oh, I used to have an OnlyFans page."
Man,
what do you, and you like this girl? Like she checks all the boxes. She has everything on paper that you need, but she says that. What do you do? I mean, are you saying that sucks and then proceed, or are you saying?
I'm gonna ask what it consists of, and I'm gonna find out. And here's the deal.
Let's say worst case scenario.
I'm out, and here's why.
Same. By the way, same.
And here's the reason why. And there's certain things about me as a man I would expect her to be out also. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying not only fans, so I'm not saying it's one sided. There's certain things that if I told her, I would expect her to be like, "Oh no, I'm out."
Well, yeah.
So in this case, my thing is this: if you did the OnlyFans thing, and I think we've talked about this, even with social media, at an early age, I realized, hey, whatever you put out there is out there. If I had the fortitude to think about that in my early 20s, and you couldn't think about this with an end goal of getting married, then you lacked something anyway. And maybe that's harsh, but that's my standard.
But that tells me two things. They're either dumb, or I shouldn't say. No, let me take that back. But they're uninformed, unintelligent on this, or they really have no intention of getting married.
Exactly.
So
that's the right.
It can't be anything else.
Right. Exactly.
So that leads me to believe, if you know that you have an OnlyFans page and you think later on somebody's going to think it was cool, life's about to grease you, sis. Like it is. You better buckle up because shit ain't going to be sweet.
Here's something I say all the time, and I truly believe this. In life, you can't skip processes.
No,
none. So you think by doing OnlyFans. See, the thing is this. You asked earlier a very important question. You said something to the tunes of like, where are they headed? Where do they think this is going? If you got an OnlyFans, you're young, 23. You got an OnlyFans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you got an OnlyFans, I'm going to think half the time you don't have a 401k.
And if you do, you're finessing more than just me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because the mom. This is a mom, and look, she's not my type. Older white lady, just I mean, she's attractive,
right?
But making $500,000. What is somebody that's like a consensus everybody likes? What are they making?
Yeah,
and I'm thinking if you put that into any interest bearing account and say you're making $1 million. Are we the dummies?
Right. Yeah.
There's it's kind of like a flipped kind of. It's almost like smoke and mirrors in a way with this, because they may be it may seem like they're prostituting or selling pussy, but they may just be finessing us, be like, you know what? I don't mind. I'm young, whatever. I look good. Let me get this money. I'm going to flip this into the rest of my life.
Well, what's the old thing like, stripper going to college to that whole thing?
Is this just a more advanced stripping?
Well, that's what I think it is.
It's just on camera.
But for some reason, those strippers are now being glorified. All this stuff that's going on now, they seem to be okay now. Like people don't, it didn't have the stigma it used to have.
Well, because you know why?
Probably because all the other stuff that's going on now.
You don't necessarily see what strippers do.
Right, yeah.
There's some strippers, they literally walk around topless, hand out drinks. Some, right, they're back in the back with, somebody, there's different
you're right.
levels.
And it's on video, it's there, for good. So it's crazy.
And you just said it, those two words, for good.
For good. Doesn't go away.
These are on the interwebs. These are going to be in existence. Somebody can find them somewhere.
Right. They're here to stay.
And I'm going to tell you, though, if I have a daughter in the future, and I ever see a link to her having an OnlyFans account,
yes,
that might be the only one. Now, when I say this, I don't want this to sound weird. It'll be the only one I subscribe to. Just to make sure that she better be sharing like recipes on there.
Yeah, be like my daughter's got OnlyFans.
Yeah,
OnlyFans I'm approved.
Yes. Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna get on there and I'm gonna shut it down quick. Because nobody, my daughter, no.
It's crazy, man. The game has changed, man.
And you know what? This is part of what we've talked about before about a social media age.
Right.
These are new waters. Like 1980, 1990, even 2000, we didn't have to worry about OnlyFans.
Right. Oh, yeah.
If I said OnlyFans, what are you going to think? You're going to think, oh, it's a store that sells fans.
Right.
Like window fans, ceiling fans.
Exactly. Like that's a perfect name for like a store, like a hardware store, nothing but fans. OnlyFans, man. The game has changed, man.
But now, God, everything's got double meanings. And
that's
like sometimes, look, I feel like I got my hand on the pulse of like current stuff pretty well, but there's sometimes stuff happens. I'm like, did I just get old and like within 3 seconds?
Yeah,
like,
I know, man. But that's part of how the game changes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I see people that are 40s, 50s now that you didn't know that they were that age because they're so into this. Like I saw, who was it? Lisa Ray.
Yeah,
she got an OnlyFans.
I saw that, man. I saw that she had.
Didn't she? She's like 50 some.
Yeah, I saw her going. She was going back and forth with Halle Berry, man, talking trash about.
Well, first of all, they both fine.
Yeah, she started OnlyFans. I think I saw that online that she had started one a couple months ago, and I was like,
now let's be honest.
That's like, isn't that the ultimate fall off though?
But is it?
I think it is, man.
I think it. I would. Okay, I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to say this. What's Lisa Ray done in the last 10 years?
No, so yeah.
It's a comeback.
Yeah,
in a way.
I see what you're saying.
It's almost like a last hurrah kind of thing. Like it's almost like she's not getting these films anymore. She's not like she's not in this limelight. This is a way that like people like.
Well, here to me it's like Vivica Fox, but at least Vivica Fox is Lifetime movies. Her comeback's Lifetime movie, and I got to be honest. I think I respect the Lifetime movies more than I do the OnlyFans.
I definitely do.
I do. I know.
I definitely do.
Yeah, so.
But I guess what I'm saying is, if you are for most of your life, been a sex symbol to everybody, and you feel like you fell off, and you get this might be your last way to be like, yeah, I still got it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I understand her point of view, but because at this point she is what she is.
Right. Yeah.
If she has one. People like my age are going to be like, oh, snap, I'll get it for her.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But a 23-year-old that nobody knows.
Yeah, that's true.
If on dating apps, I've seen girls put, here's my IG, here's this, whatever. And some say, here's my OnlyFans.
Right, yeah.
And I'm thinking it's like, no.
Yeah, that's
like, who are you?
The game has changed, man.
And here's the other thing. I know we all will say pay for it, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whether it be taking out to dinner, just spending time, energy, whatever.
Right.
I have not paid for it.
Right.
Ever in my life.
No.
And I am not starting now.
No way. Absolutely. That's a shame, man. Yeah, so obviously, man, the game has changed when it comes to relationships. I mean, it's not what it used to be.
Yeah, it's I think that what it comes down to is you got to find somebody that's about as sick of it as you are.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And when you do that, you got to be honest with one another.
Yeah, and that's kind of just like life lessons, right? You got to work your way to being sick. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the game has changed, man. And you can look, man, there's just, like we talked about, I think on another one I mentioned, it's like you got two people looking for the same thing, but there's something about it that's just not connecting anymore. It's something about it not connecting. I saw another thing where this chick had went on 500 dates using different, using Bumble, using Tinder, some different social media apps or whatever. And she was just talking about how hard it was to find the right person. And my thing is this: if you went on 500 dates, I mean, are you the problem?
First,
it can't be.
I mean,
it can't be everybody else.
What's the time period for that?
I forget. I think the time period was over like a year and a half or 2 years or something like that.
Because you got to think about, one per day is 365.
Yeah.
That's over a year going on dates.
Yeah, I mean, she was basically continually.
That's a serial dater.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, maybe I'm weird for asking this, but out of 500 dates, how many times do you think she smashed on the first date?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, that's I have to check that out because that was over. You know what? Actually,
I'd like to see what she looked like too.
Actually, correction. You know what?
Did you just make all that up?
No, I didn't. You know what it was? Actually, I was watching this online. What it was a dude. Actually, they were using a girl as just like a picture there or whatever. It was a guy that did it, and it was a course over several years, is what it was.
Well, that's not as bad.
But it was still a lot of dates. But what he did, he used. He decided going into it that he was going to literally, like, record everything. So he recorded on how many kisses on the first date. He recorded everything, mapped it out, like, so you know exactly what happened. Their patterns, their everything.
Wow.
And what and in some of these, he dated kind of like seriously. And he even goes down to like, I went on a second date, third date, fourth date with this many. I think I was intimate with this many. Like he was all the way down to, and I forget what the number was. And he even talks about intimate on the first date. He goes into it hardcore, man.
Wow.
Yeah, he does. So, he's like this dude is almost like he's a scientist because he definitely did his work, man.
How would you feel if you found out that a girl was like, you're part of some experiment?
Oh, that's got to be.
Because mentally, what if you're kind of fragile?
Right.
And then you find that out.
Yeah. That's a good question.
You know what? We might have answered our question about the first part of the podcast.
Yeah.
While women are selling.
Right. Yeah.
Shit on.
Well, and it's funny because when I started off, I was thinking about the chick. I listened to both of these the same night. I think there was a chick that she went on so many dates and was talking about how it's hard to find the right person, but you could tell by the way that she was talking. She's like, yeah, I've got them sending me gifts, and it's like multiple men are sending me gifts, and it's like, well, I already know your problem. You're not locked in. I mean, that's the thing, man. But there's woes out there, though, man. I know there's challenges out there, but I just think some people aren't serious, man. I think some people are acting like they're serious and they're really not.
Well, it's like the love of things takes over from the love of people.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
It's like, do you want an iPad or do you want a boyfriend?
Yeah.
What's more important?
But you know what, man? Also, my thoughts, man, and because I'm married, it's a little bit different, and, I wanted to be married. That was when I say a goal, yeah, that's something that was a goal. I mean, I had planned on getting married at some point, and what I want to know for the average person out there that just, I'm never gonna get married. Like, don't you think, isn't it human nature to look for loyalty? And I'm not saying you can be with somebody and not be married and get loyalty. I mean that you can get that. You don't have to be married to get loyalty, but yeah, I just wonder, man. Like, for those who are like, yo, I'm gonna be a player forever. Like, does that get old?
Well, first of all, they will be until they lose it.
Yeah, and then
and then all of a sudden they want to start acting serious. It's kind of like the girl in high school that you wanted forever,
right?
And then she goes, whatever, she goes and has like 3 kids, and then tries to come back to you. It's like, no, I wanted you.
Right then, the game has changed. No thanks.
Yeah, I got more that I need, and I don't know. I think I don't think that there currently is a solution to fix the dating landscape that we have right now.
Yeah, I don't think there is either.
Without settling.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, you got to find 2 people that don't want to play no games. And that's what's hard.
but see, people lie to each other so much, you don't know if somebody's telling the truth.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I've done nasty things to people, like,
right, yeah.
and I'm not talking like physically. I'm saying, like, I've been grimy before.
Yeah.
Like, I've said some things, even when I was saying, I was like, man, I'm just lying straight to this person's face.
Right, yeah.
You know, and I knew I was, but I've got a conscience. Some people don't.
Right, yeah.
And that's what's dangerous, is people are out here selling dreams. Like, there's a lot of good salesmen out there and saleswomen, and that's the part that we got to figure out where to come together.
The thing that I think about it, though, man, is what I've realized, man, as I went on throughout time, is that I think that back in the day, man, and I don't know how if every man is raised this way, but I grew up thinking that women were well intentioned. I just naturally hate.
Well, when you grew up thinking that, they were,
but I don't know if they all were.
No,
I think a lot more were.
Right,
yeah, but
now it's that number has changed a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I think, though, I naturally, you just in your mind, and even to this day, I think it's still a narrative that's pushed, is women are good, men are dogs, and women have to be careful. But I eventually ended up realizing that women could be dogs just as much as men. Like, women were taking advantage of men just as much as, men were said to be taking advantage of women.
In some ways,
worse.
Way worse.
But here's the deal.
I think that's what it is now.
Here's where the line draws for me is this. Even if it was equal, right? 50-50. Here's what I believe is crazy about it is, see, men expect women to be good. Women expect men to be dogs. So they're prepping themselves for it. But the man, and that's what somebody made the point. Usually women, a man who, this is crazy, and it's hard to solidify this, but that a man who is all into a relationship and then is shocked, he lands, I mean, it's hard. He's jacked up for a long time. And usually it's the woman who's back out there like, yo, because they expect it to be dogged anyway. The man, he gets flipped upside down and is a shock. And then he goes into total other mode. Tries to, like, yo, I hate women, and I think that's true, because men aren't. I don't know any guys that enter a relationship and said, yo, she's trying to deceive me. I gotta watch out for her. She's trying to get me. Women, they naturally are like, I done been through it with these cats. I'm timid about it, and that's where you could get jacked up real quick.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point. Sure. I heard that this week, and I was like, man, I gotta agree with that to a degree, man. This is not expecting it, Yeah,
this is rare, but I don't have anything to add to that.
I mean, it's
like, that's you got it.
Yeah, man. And I thought back, and I got to thinking back though. Thinking back to the past, I'm like, yo, man, that's true, man, and it's crazy, man. There's definitely some type of between women and men, some type of psychology thing, man. Because here's the deal, man. as you're younger, man, the ones you want don't want you, and the ones you don't want you. I don't know why.
And it's still
like they're after you because you don't want them, and it's like it's weird.
Well,
so that's why in my relationship with my wife, man, it was nice because we both wanted each other, man. Well, man. We both enjoyed each other's presence.
It's the old adage, man. You want what you can't have.
Yeah.
And when sometimes you get surprised, and it's like, shit, I got what I thought I couldn't get.
Yeah.
And half the time, it's not as impressive as you thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
That chase is what people chase.
Yeah, man.
And I don't want to chase no more. I'm exhausted, man. I got other things to do. I don't need to. Back in high school, I had the energy. I had the time. I don't have any of that now.
Yeah, that's what I say, man. It's like, as far as my wife, man, and just I don't know, man. Just my relationship in general. Like you call it home, but that's home. That's like, for me, it's home. Like it's just like a constant. You know what I'm saying? And
home isn't always a location.
No, it's not. And that's why I also think, man, that a lot of men, man, women help men a lot just to like.
Are you talking about like from a mental standpoint?
I'm saying, I think from a mental standpoint, but I also think it's like we have these stages in our life, right? And you're either, like even with you right now, I'm married, obviously you're not, but we're both investing. Well, for me, right, I've got my family that's like check, okay, there, loyal, boom, we're there. So I'm just, you have more to focus on. So I don't feel like you're not that you're not stable, you're stable. The same way I was stable before, but you still got to have different focuses at the same time. You got to invest, you have to work on bettering yourself at the same time you're working to hopefully meet that right person. Now, sometimes what happens, people aren't bettering themselves and they're trying to meet that person. It can't be that. So you're doing two at a time. That's why for me, I feel like I'm able to say, invest, because this part is boom. But where it is a little different is also have to remember, and that's why like even with investing, I'm like, I want to get to a point, and we've talked, where it's like, okay, boom, I want to pull back. Like I want this market cycle to end. I want to pull back for a month and just boom, just my family. I want to reap some benefits from that investing and just say, just my family. I just want to focus on this, nothing else. And then just be able to slowly just, but just about getting to that point where everything's there and you can just live. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and that's,
if that makes sense. You're not always trying to do this and this all the time. You just want to get like, okay, everything's in balance. Now we just live. It's like now you're on this schedule where, look, I get my spiritual time in the morning, work my mind out, I go to work, and then I come home and it's family, and then boom. Like everything's in its proper place. But until you get there, it's always that. And maybe that's life, though.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And actually, you opened my eyes up to a little bit. Like you gave me perspective that I didn't have initially, and you're right. I mean, you're able to kind of like not have to focus. It's kind of like paying a bill off when you get married.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to worry about that bill anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I got that taken care of. That's bought and paid for.
Right.
For me, it's like all my bills are still due.
Right.
It's like I'm trying to pay some certain things off. And when I get married, that's paid. Absolutely. When I have kids, that's paid. And it actually makes me feel much better about myself because I think I do a pretty good job balancing on that.
Yeah, and it's a pull, and it's a pull too, because even for me, right, like, you still have to balance, like, because you have family, there's obligations there.
Yeah.
So it's like, but yeah, just getting to this place of peace. To me, it's almost like this, man. It's almost like a lottery winner, right? When a lottery winner gets that big amount, there's to me, it's like trying to get in that spot where, okay, I know I won the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
The excitement is the crazy excitement's over. I'm waiting to get the check, but I know everything's good. I don't have it yet, but there's nothing to do but wait on it. Trying to get in that perfect balance where it's like, my life's purpose, this is what it is. I got my family schedule. It's like the calendar's all made out.
Yeah.
Now I just execute. But it's hard. I can't speak for women. As a man, it's hard to get in that spot because you're ever changing. And then right when you get to a spot, you ever get to that spot and you're like, yo, man, this is nice. I love this. And then you know what? It's gone. It's like you could be doing the same thing, but it don't feel the same no more. So you got to figure out, okay, what's the next spot? And it's like, and I'm sure women go through the same thing, but that's the thing that's difficult. But I do feel like, yeah, when you do meet that person or whatever, if you're working towards the same thing, it does at least. Okay, boom, this is this. Now I can shift. Now we can shift to this and do this together. So
yeah, and it's almost like when you have different priorities, whether you're in a relationship or not, you're going to end up having to come out on the other end having similar goals. I don't know what, it's like, it's almost like being on a mountain.
Yeah.
And it's like you may go around like this all the way to the top. I may go straight up, but we're trying to go to the top.
Right,
it's a different path.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's almost kind of like that, And,
absolutely.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand is like, you just don't know at what point you come into the timeline. It's like you may start on chapter 2 and then go from there, or you may start at the very beginning and go.
And then go, that's the truth.
So I just think that I don't know. It's a very complex thing. This all kind of ties into everything we've talked about. I think once the post-COVID life starts to happen,
right.
I think we're going to see people, the OnlyFans type stuff and the women not knowing and the men not knowing and all this stuff in dating. I think you're going to start to see people kind of scale it back some.
I think so too, because I also heard OnlyFans it was there, but it blew up.
Because people are bored at home.
Yeah, and I think it'll scale back.
And once people are able to go out in life and do things normally again, a lot of this stuff is I think people are just bored and they just need entertainment.
Right.
And
that's true.
Because we, in social media age, we're so, fixated on the TikToks and the Snapchats and those types of things where we get instant gratification and all that. I mean, people are on YouTube for literally hours a day for sometimes for no reason. Like you're just on there because it's normal,
So they're like next, and
then before you know it, you're watching videos of how like Snicker bars are made.
I was gonna say how ice cream's made.
Yeah, and which is kind of cool to see, but who has time to be doing that?
It's not constructive.
No, it's not.
That's so true.
But at the end of the day, man, we as men and women, we have to come together on an agreement of something.
I agree.
Because I actually think we're driving a wedge
between
deeper and deeper.
I agree, and it ain't good for society.
No,
in general. So I agree.
So guys, that's it for this round. We got verse 5 in the books. So don't forget to subscribe, like, share,
hit the bell for notification.
What other things do we need? That's the 4.
Yeah, man.
Follow. Did I say follow? Anyway, follow on our social medias.
Yeah, leave some comments. Ask us questions.
Give us ideas what you want to hear us go off about.
Absolutely.
So we got my Instagram, Trace is like.
My Instagram is Perry Unlikely. And
our joint thing that we haven't really posted on a lot, we're trying to get it built, is Street Preachers Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Just, support when you can. But we got some kind of some big plans coming up with some of the other ones in the future.
Absolutely.
Verse 6 through 10 should come with some heat.
Absolutely. Until you get better.
And we, we're just trying to drop a little game on y'all. We'll see you next time.
And we out.
All right.